Time is only an illusion, and our individual relationship with it is consistent with our ideas about it. What do you think about time? Or better, what are your beliefs about time? Is it a real thing around which your life revolves? Are you always on time to your commitments? Are you always late? Do you have enough time? Is there enough time? Or do you kill time because there is too much of it? Does time go by fast, as in time flies? Or does it crawl or drag? If it is one of these, can it be any other? Can it be all of them? What is consistent about each of these ideas, beliefs, experiences of time? They are all false. That is what is consistent with each and all ideas of time. They are false because time does not actually exist. I started this discussion with the phrase, time is only an illusion. It is what any of us believe it to be at any given time. But in reality, it is not a thing at all. If there is no time at all, then there are no yesterdays, last weeks, or 10 years ago. Neither are there any tomorrows, next weeks, or next year. There aren't even any todays. There is only now. We have come to see a now increment of time as a short span, maybe a second. That, however, is based on the idea of time in the man-made paradigm of time. If a now moment of time is generally defined by the man-made idea of time, then what actually is a now moment? In reality, a now moment does not require definition. It could actually be all that is. In fact, I say that the now moment or the now is all that is. When time is compartmentalized into seconds, minutes, hours, days, weeks, years, and so on, each segment is separate, and once gone is gone forever, never to return. We mourn days gone by, and we anticipate days to come, ever removing ourselves from the only thing there is, the now. Imagine segmented time as we perceive it as a grid, which grid separates each measured increment of time. Imagine parallel and perpendicular lines creating individual, well-defined compartments that extend beyond our ability to see. Can you see it? Imagine now a vast space, a space that is continuous of itself, with no beginning and no end. It is empty, yet full at the same time. It is whole and it is complete. It is one. See yourself standing somewhere amid this whole, complete, vast space. You do not see the end nor the beginning, and you are free. You there? Picture now the grid being laid over this vast, continuous, whole space, coming down over you. As this grid approaches, you see there are lines between the lines, creating smaller compartments. As the grid settles around you, you realize you are no longer free. You are maintained within a segment. You observe that your new experienced reality now has limits and boundaries. Your perspective has been diminished, and you no longer are able to govern yourself nor align yourself with natural cycles. You notice that every so often you get bumped to a new segment, a new different segment. Some aspects of what was maintained in the previous segment gets bumped with you, and other aspects do not. It feels unnatural, disconnected, and incomplete. And because you cannot follow the natural cycles due to your limited view and senses, you begin to rely on the bumping to new segments to guide your activities. Where once all you needed and wanted was always present within view and provided naturally and cyclically, now you must search for that which you need and want, and carry it with you from one segment to the next. You begin to feel stressed with this new environment and learning how it works. Over time, you adapt and settle into a new cycle of sorts. One thing is determined by the grid. one that is determined by the grid. The grid tells you when to sleep, when to wake, when to be at certain places, and when to leave. The grid has become your new way of governing yourself and relating to others. Children born to you do not know any different, even though you may teach them about the previous ways of natural cycles and self-governing. They do not understand it because they have not experienced it. The grid is their home, and they know nothing else. The grid becomes all that is known. It dictates lives. It separates what was once whole and complete into segments of disconnect, rushing, and distraction. Of course, this is a story, and perhaps exaggerated. The purpose of this story is to create a perspective of life that is beyond time, one that is not bound by borders that take us away from the only and unending segment there is, which is now. Without time, the now moment spans entire lifetimes and beyond. There is no yesterday or tomorrow or today. There is only now. Oftentimes, we think about the past as gone and the future as coming. But the truth is, without the idea of time, nothing is ever gone and everything is always here, simultaneously. All that is needed to experience something from the quote past or quote future is to feel the feeling of it now. When we do that, time is realized as only an illusion. Time collapses on itself, or better said, your idea of time is shattered forever. Time disappears and the grid becomes a tool we use to our favor and ceases to be an idea upon which we base our entire life experience. We begin to see through the grid. It is there, but we can now see through it to the reality of wholeness and completeness that exists naturally. Thank you. What thoughts, comments, questions do you have on this excerpt that I wrote today on time?